great crowd tonight in Simon Scott Assembly Hall. We're so grateful once again, to have the turnout, to have the energy in the building, and trust me when I tell you, we needed every one of those 3,000 or 13,046 rear ends in the seats tonight. Helping us get to the finish line. So really proud of our group tonight. I thought Grace and Mackenzie were obviously so good offensively. I thought Mac did a tremendous job on Monica tonight. Caitlin's Caitlin. She's a superb player. We knew that she was going to score, but I do want to point out, I thought in the second half, I thought Sarah Scalia came in and really did some great things for us defensively. We talked about being in gaps, but also we felt like we had to take some calculated risks and go make plays. Sarah dropped off a couple times and went and made some big plays down the stretch for us. But I loved G's mindset tonight. You could tell she was not going to be denied. I've seen that look a lot, and I knew she wanted to lead us throughout the 40 minutes. And again, I thought that Mac has played so well for us all season long, and was really good. But these guys would tell you that they had a lot of help tonight from their teammates, and it's a great win against a really great opponent that we have a tremendous amount of respect for.
Questions for student athletes first. Jeff, go.
Yeah, Mackenzie.
Ladies over here.
One of the big storylines was you and Monica. You won that battle. How?
I knew the task at hand, and I knew the type of player Cesano is going into the game. So I really just tried to have a defensive mindset going into this game, knowing that it wasn't going to be easy, but just trying to be myself, not do anything special out of the ordinary, and just play hard for 40 minutes.
Brad in the back right.
Grace, what kept this team as level as it was in the fourth quarter? Everybody kind of stayed really steady those last 10 minutes after those first three quarters were so very intense.
I think we're just, we're led by some veterans, and we, pretty much at all times have 4 or 5 people out there that have 3, 4, 5 years of college basketball experience. So we've been in those games before, and I think we're just super confident. We know the game plan. We know where we need to get the ball. We know what we need to do defensively. So I think, there's really no reason to panic. We've been in those moments before, and we know what we have to do.
Taylor.
You all won the battle from the charity stripe tonight. Speaking of veteran status, Grace, how does that come into play when you know that people are in foul trouble and you need to play smart for the remainder of the game?
I think, you have to adjust to how things are being called. And maybe, we were too physical with them tonight, but, that happens. We probably have to try to be better. We know Iowa's really good about getting fouled, especially Caitlin Clark. So I think, we'll see on film how they could be better and maybe, lessen those free throw attempts.
Seth.
Mackenzie, Grace kind of talked about how you all held it together, with, how emotional the game was. But can you, I guess, from your vantage on the court and just on the sideline or whatever, can you kind of describe that emotion and the tension in the building tonight, and just what that was like throughout the game, just both with the crowd and with this matchup?
Yeah, Coach Moren always says play with emotion, but don't be emotional. So, play with that intensity, that energy, that passion, but, don't get too worked up in all the stuff that doesn't matter, the foul calls and, them making a run, just all those things that we can't control. Just don't get too caught up in that, and stay focused, and just keep our foot on the pedal.
Will, second round to the right.
For either of you two, you combined for 20 of the 23 in the third quarter. Was there some sort of discussion or adjustment at halftime that you guys decided to just take control, or was it on the fly?
I think it's just, reading what the defense gives us. Obviously, Grace was really aggressive tonight, and she was getting a lot of good looks at the rim, and then my teammates were finding me inside. So I think, like we've said a bunch of times, we have so many pieces that are able to go off for those numbers. So I think it was just working for Grace tonight.
Tyler.
Well,
No, Tyler first. Sorry. Will.
Mackenzie, I know it was last season, but when you were out with your injury for an extended period of time, I guess just what was that like having to deal with that mentally? And was there anything like from that time period that now you have kind of taken into this season to help you?
I'm not who I was when I came back from my surgery last season, and I try to put that behind me. And I learned from it, and I think I'm better because of it. But I try not to think too much about it because I'm not who I was coming back from surgery last year.
Luke?
For both of you, Mackenzie and Grace, the game felt, I mean, the building itself was rocky. You had the atmosphere, everybody was wearing pink, it was breast cancer night. Did either of the women who you escorted to the court say anything to you before the game? Did they say good luck, or how about this, or we wish we saw this when we were younger, or anything like that, when you walked out to the court with them?
I mean, it was honestly too loud in there to even hear anybody say anything, so if they did say something, I don't know, but I think, just to see the excitement on their faces and kind of to have them be able to experience that moment with us, because there's nothing like walking out to 13,000 people in Assembly Hall. So just to see the smile on their faces, I think, said it all.
Okay.
Grace, a couple of rough performances coming into tonight, and then tonight a season high 26 points. Mackenzie said you had a clicking night. What was working for you?
I mean, I think sometimes my shot's just not falling, and then I probably just, keep shooting the jump shot instead of, I'm really good at getting to the rim too. And so Coach Box just reminded me that if my float's not falling, I don't have to keep settling. That I'm really good at getting to the rim too. So I think, after I've missed that first pull-up or two, instead of keep, settling for that shot, just being aggressive and getting easier looks at the rim.
Question all the way in the back in the block.
Hey, Grace, right in the back right here. Coach mentioned that mindset or that look in your eye. How would you describe that and how you're feeling when you got that going on coming into the game?
I mean, I just really wanted to win. I know Iowa's a really, really, really great team, top 5 team in the country for a reason. And I remember losing to them 3 times last year, and in the Big Ten championship game. So, anytime we play a great team like that, it means a little more. So I just, you wanted to do whatever I could to help my team win.
Wilson?
Grace, I know Coach Moren has talked a lot this year about how you're kind of a steady hand with the offense. Just for you personally in a game like this where it's loud and emotional, how do you stay calm, stay level in an environment like this?
I mean, I think it helps that, I've been here 5 years. So it's not the first time I've been in that situation. And I've played for Coach Moren for 5 years, so I know what she wants in that situation. And I know she has confidence in me, so it's, pretty easy to be confident with the ball in your hands.
Tyler, last question for student athletes. Oh, right. Where's the other one? Yep, okay. Tyler, go ahead.
Mackenzie, you've been playing at a high level this season, but you've also just been doing it really consistently. I guess, is there a reason you can pinpoint why that is? Why do you think you just have been so good this season?
I mean, I think it's a testament to, the other pieces we have on the floor, those floor spacers we have, the 3-point threats we have on the floor. That's always been an area where we struggle a little bit. So to be able to have those pieces on the court, are really important. And, last year, obviously, I came back from surgery, so I felt like I had to work really hard to get back to where I was before that point. And so just consistent hard work, I feel like, is what's gotten me to this point.
All right, ladies, thank you. Good job. Raise your hand for questions for Coach Moren.
Coach, congratulations.
Thank you.
You mentioned yesterday that you thought the intangibles were what was going to win you to the game today. What were some of those intangibles that you thought?
I told him all the things that never show up in here, right? And that was, having the emotional energy to do your assignment first, and then just, the toughness, the focus, making winning plays, kind of what I was alluding to earlier with Sarah. We felt like we had to take some chances from time to time and not be reckless, but and then again, there's a toughness about this group that I continue to talk about that had to show up in a big way today. But I think that Grace said it best. We came up short 3 times to Iowa last year, and I think that for some of our returners especially, that stuck with them. And so You know, I felt like, you know, tonight, especially Grace and Mackenzie, you know, really wanted to play well. And they really wanted to play well in order to help, you know, their team win. And so, and they followed the game plan, just, you know, as we would have liked. You know, maybe we would like to hit more free throws, but, you know, I thought from a defensive perspective, you know, again, Caitlin is superb, but for the most part, I thought we did a really sound job on the rest of them.
Todd.
Well, that kind of prefaces my next question, Teri. I mean, Chloe's defense on Caitlin, I mean, it seems silly to say because she had 35, but it was spread out.
Sure.
I mean, it didn't look, she only scored, I think, on 3 straight possessions once in the game.
Yeah.
8 turnovers, 28 shots to get 35. I mean, what were your thoughts on her defense? And then also just the collective defense on the handoffs, because it was difficult for her to get into rhythm.
Well, I agree with that, Todd. I thought, like I said, Chloe, you know, has been that for us all year. You know, she's had the charge of being on the opposing team's best offensive guard, and so she knew the task, but she also knew that she needed help. And so, like I talked about, in transition, we tried to tag her and try to get to her as quickly as we could. But then you try to build a wall. You try to have those activity in your gaps where, you know, she always sees a body. And sometimes we came up short, but and that's Caitlin being Caitlin and doing Caitlin things. But I thought, like I said, Sarah, especially in the fourth, you know, between she and Chloe, I thought that they buddy kind of, you know, together collectively, you know, did a great job and made, you know, nothing easy for Caitlin down the stretch, and that's when we know she's at her finest. You know, when they're behind, and she has to go make the plays for them. And I thought certainly Chloe, but I thought Sarah did a great job of helping, you know, in those moments.
Teri, this may be the type of thing that's hard to really grasp during the season, but I mean, nights like this with, you know, a record crowd, you know, 2 really good teams, big game, really high level women's basketball. I mean, nights like this are starting to become a little more common around here. Just what does it mean for the program to have nights like this become a more regular occurrence?
Well, it's terrific. You know, I said it and I'll continue to say it. It's so great for Indiana. It's great for the Big Ten, and it's great nationally for women's basketball to have crowds like this. You know, one of our responsibilities are, you know, as coaches is to grow our game. And, you know, our fans have certainly helped with that here in Bloomington and the surrounding counties, just by showing up and supporting this group of young ladies. And, you know, it is special. I don't want to downplay it. We're going to continue to need them down the stretch. Things don't get any easier for us, but you know, without a question, they have provided us with a much needed, not just energy, but just a shot in the arm, you know, when we've needed them the most. And you know, I can't tell you how grateful we are that we've had the crowds, you know, that we've had, and I hope that this becomes the new normal for Indiana women's basketball.
Wilson.
Teri, you mentioned the look Grace had. I'm just wondering, how exactly could you tell what she was going to do tonight? At what point did you realize she was feeling it tonight?
Well, you could just tell by the way she was, you know, trying to play fast. She was trying to play downhill most of the night, and you know, getting to her spots. I thought she was being ultra aggressive, and so like I said, I've been around Grace long enough. I've had the pleasure of coaching her long enough to know when she's sort of in that zone where she has a willingness about her to try to take over, not just take over, but really will her team to a victory. And I thought tonight she was really good.
Kevin.
Terry, you called
Hold on, Brad.
Sorry.
Yep, Kevin first, and then you.
So you kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but considering what's happened the last couple of seasons and considering that the implications this win might have moving forward in the Big Ten, can you put into words what this win means to you guys as a team, as the significance of this win?
Well, it's another win. That's really all it is for us. We have goals. You guys know that. And as I've said, you got to win all of them to achieve what we want to achieve. You know, our road is difficult, but we're up for the challenge. As I said to these guys, you know, we're writing a story right now, this group is. And we control our destiny. And so my charge to, you know, our team is not to let anybody else hold the pen. You know, we need to be the ones that are gonna write this story, you know, throughout the rest of Big Ten play, into the Big Ten Conference, you know, tournament, and then into postseason.
Brad in the back.
Teri, you called the early timeout down 6. What was kind of your message to settle the girls down a bit maybe, but also to kind of maintain an intensity that matched the level that this night brought?
Yeah, you know, I think it was more about making sure that they understood the importance of, they had to sprint back because they hit a couple over the top, you know, in transition. And it was a pretty fast-paced game, you know, and so you have no time after you either score or miss a basket to jog back, and so that was really the message. And I assured them that we were good, you know, we're fine, and you know, we just have to settle in and you know, and play. And again, we didn't get emotional, but it was more of just catch your breath, and then we got to get out and we got to be so much better, particularly in transition.
I've got a question on Zoom from M.A. Vocal from ESPN. M.A., go ahead.
Very good about just sort of staying in the moment, but in about an hour they'll have the top 16 reveal on, and I feel that's going to be very favorable for you guys in the Big Ten. Can you just talk about what it means to have the blend of respect I think that the conference has this year, both for your program and for the entire league?
Well, we'll see. MA, I mean, we're still fighting for the national respect. I'm eager tonight to see if, you know, what that looks like for us. But I've said it, and it's in and year out, it's different, right? Every conference, you know, from top to bottom is different. But I just have a hard time believing that there's not a better conference right now in the country than the Big Ten. When you look at you know, our top 5 to 6, you know, teams. You know, obviously we're grateful to be a part of it, but, you know, I'm just gonna keep saying it. You know, this is the best conference in the country this year, because of not just the coaches, but the players. You know, I hope that the national media will start to, you know, give us the respect that, one, we've earned, and we'll see. But yeah, I think I could speak for all the Big Ten coaches. We really believe that this year, and every year is different. But I think if you ask any of the coaches in the Big right now, you'd have a hard time convincing anybody else that this isn't the best league, you know, in the country.
Mason.
Coach, you mentioned that you mentioned that the loss last year to Iowa kind of stuck with some of the veterans in this program. Going back to that Big Ten title game in Indianapolis last year, do you remember anything from that locker room that kind of stuck out and maybe could have served as fuel for tonight?
You know, not necessarily. I just think we're a different team. You know, Mac is healthy. She said it. You know, we've added more scoring power with Sid and Sarah, and Yarden. You know, this is a different team. And not to take anything away from that team last year, because, gosh, you know, I love that team. But we're different. We're better, you know. And like I said, I think we have more pieces on the outside. And I think that's why Mac, you know, to go back to answer the question about Mac and why she's had this success, anytime you have floor spacers the way we have, things open up on the inside for Mackenzie. And, you know, she's always about giving her teammates credit for that. But that's how that works. And so it's, you know, it's been a great team to coach so far, where they have lofty goals. You know, they're really locked in right now.
Coach, as far as Mackenzie's footwork, are there just like any memories that stick out to you in terms of when you were recruiting her, like really being impressed by her footwork? Like, was that when you first started watching, like something that was really evident to you?
Yeah, that wasn't the first thing that stuck out when I saw Mackenzie play. The first thing that stuck out to me was her commitment to running the floor. in transition. You don't have a lot of fives that are out there in summer ball that are really running the floor as hard as Mac ran the floor. And that's, you know, that's the reason that I think we fell in love with Mackenzie, because that's just a commitment, right? To just trying to get ahead of the defense. You know, I think her footwork and her hands, once we got her here, that was just, you know, sort of icing on the cake for us, that we weren't quite sure what, and Mac would tell you too, she wasn't quite that as confident as she is right now today of the type of player that she could become in this league. But you know, that's God-given. She'd tell you that. You know, her footwork and her hands. That's God-given.
Question over here, your Carla.
Coach, Iowa came in this game on an 8-game winning streak, and Monica Sonata was shooting something like 75% over that winning streak. You guys really made it tough on her tonight. What did you guys do that you felt like was the reason, you know, that you got her out of a rhythm?
Yeah, I just thought Mackenzie had great activity. You know, she never, you know, we talked about the thing where Monica, well, first of all, their offense is they're like a machine, right? And a well-oiled machine in terms of how they execute. You know, the challenge for Mackenzie was going to be not to allow her to get a lot of deep touches, one, and angle touches. And she got a few of those, but I thought for the most part, you know, Mac was trying to get side to side. She was trying to get a hand in the passing lane from time to time, and so I thought Mac's activity level guarding her was it had to be, but it was excellent tonight.
Seth.
Mackenzie talked about playing with emotion but not playing emotional, but how difficult is that in a game like this against a team that, you know, you've had a lot of close games and a bit of rivalry with, and again, you know, and in an environment like this?
Yeah, I think again you look to your leader in Grace Berger, you know, you just lead the team. But this is a veteran team. We always tell them they're built for these moments. There's no reason to panic. You know, we can chip away when we're down. We can, you know, we need to keep our foot on the pedal when we're up. We got to keep getting stops. We got to be stingy defensively. We got to control the board. So you just keep reminding them of who they are and, you know, what has to happen, you know, to get to the finish line.
Kevin.
Defensively, it was your strongest part of your game tonight, but what does it tell you about your offensive rhythm when you can score 87 points against a top 5 team in the country?
Well, again, you know, we should have had, I'm disappointed that 87 should be more because we missed so many free throws. So there's always something that I find, right, in the stat sheet that I'm disappointed by. But again, this is a team that it's balanced. It has a lot of different pieces that can score in different kinds of ways. You know, this is a group that believes in that. They don't feel like, you know, it has to be Mac, it has to be Grace. It could be anybody's night. And you know, I thought they've done a great job of just really allowing the defense to, you know, they take what the defense gives them, but they also share the ball. You know, I think we too can, you know, at times execute at a really high level, and that helps.
Coach, last question over here to your left.
Coach, you talked about Iowa being a well-oiled machine offensively. I think you were the first team in, I think, 14 games that held Iowa under 80. How were you able to do that?
Well, again, it was all hands on deck. You know, as I mentioned earlier, we knew that that's a two-headed monster with Monica and Kate, and so we, you know, had to try to do a really good job on both of them. You know, I think Kate had to work. I don't know if she would say that, but hopefully, you know, I felt like she had to work for some of those shots. You know, Mac did a terrific job on Monica, and then I thought, you know, we did a decent job on their surrounding cast as well. And so, as I mentioned, you know, we had to try to go make some plays off script, and I thought Sarah, we made winning plays, and we had to do that in order to win the game. And you know, I thought whether it was Sarah or whether it was Grace, even Chloe at times, you know, just trying to be disruptive defensively and try to keep them out of sync. That was really the game plan. Sure enough, we did a great job.
All right,
thank you guys.